Good evening and welcome to episode 7. I'm going to do some stuffing, dressing, whatever you call it. Some people call it dressing, some people call it stuffing. But what I've got right here is I was lazy. I got my bread from the store cut up. I'm going to use some bread, butter, fresh sage. I've got some white wine. I'm going to use some cranberries, an apple, celery, garlic, onion, and green onions. And I didn't dig my rosemary out yet, but I'm going to do rosemary, and of course salt and pepper. And it's going to be kind of a mixture of traditional and non-traditional stuffing. And as usual, I'm not going to make you wait while I chop everything up, so we will be visiting back in just a moment. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start the butter on low so it can start to melt, and then I'm going to go ahead and chop up the onions and basically all the vegetables and put it in here to heat. Of course, I put all the bread in the bowl, and I'm going to pour the juice and everything over the top of it when I'm done. And I didn't tell you that I used half of cup of butter. Okay, so here is the it's got the celery, and which was 2 stalks, which made it almost a cup, and then 1 cup of chopped onions, and then about 2 cloves of garlic, and it's all chopped and in here and sauteing. Now I'm going to work on the apple and put the apple in and the wine. The sage and the cranberries I'm just going to put right in the bread mixture. Okay, I have 5 ounces of dried cranberry, and this amounts to about a tablespoon of fresh sage. And I've got about a cup of it was 1 apple, but it worked out to be about a cup. Now I'm going to put in half a teaspoon of sea salt, a fourth of a teaspoon of sea salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of rosemary. And then I'll finish cooking it a little bit, and use a Chenin Blanc. It's not too sweet, it's not too dry. And then I use 2 cups, and of course I always have a glass for me. Okay, this is the hardest part. You pour a little bit of this into here, and then you have to just make it all moist. And you think that's not hard, but it is, because it keeps overflowing all over the counter. So you have to be really careful. So once it's all moist, that's when it's ready to stuff the turkey. Okay, so believe me, it's taken me about 10 minutes to get it this mixed and this moist. And I also decided it smelled a little bland, so I thought, well, you can't go wrong with basil. So I have added 2 tablespoons of basil. And you got to remember, this is my own recipe that I'm just making up as I go along. So we'll see how it tastes tomorrow. So what I'm going to do now is put aluminum foil over it, put it in the fridge. Then in the morning I will determine if I'm going to put it in a baking pan and bake it, or stuff the turkey with it. I haven't really decided yet. And here it is the morning after. I'm ready to stuff it in the turkey, get it in the oven, well, the toaster, or whatever it's called, the roaster oven, and cook the turkey. Okay, so as always, I have leftover stuffing. And so what I'm going to do is pour a little bit of broth in here and some butter, and then cook it when I'm cooking the ham. The stuffing was a hit. I have to give leftovers to the kids.